As we have seen, Ingersoll was for women's suffrage and universal suffrage. As the Republican Party began to move further from its earlier stance of pressing for civil rights, Ingersoll began to criticize some of its positions but remained a member. Susan Jacoby's biography of Ingersoll makes some significant points about his importance that have been neglected by other writers. She speaks of the two divergent trains in American secular thought and puts Ingersoll firmly in the tradition of Thomas Paine's humanism. Paine's humanism was recognition of common humanity rather than tooth and claw competition. He wanted a world where wealth and social status would no longer overshadow merit and intellect as the important focus of human society. Paine believed the separation of church and state would help lay the foundation for true equality, as well as guaranteeing freedom of conscience. Jacoby points out that there was another undesirable current of American secularism that began with the popularity of Herbert Spencer and the social Darwinism of the 19th century. I should be giving a future lecture on social Darwinism and Spencer in the future, and James R. Taylor will be giving a future lecture on contemporary social Darwinism and genetics. Jacoby argues that this strain has continued through the objectivism and exaltation of the Ubermensch preached by the 20th century atheist and unregulated market idolater Ayn Rand. Jacoby places Ingersoll squarely in the humanist camp rather than the social Darwinist one. Was Ingersoll an atheist, or as he is often called, the great agnostic? He settled his question with his own words when he said an agnostic is an atheist, an atheist is an agnostic. What is most important about his free thought was that he was a secularist, which formed the basis of what he believed could be a happy and productive life for humanity. Susan Jacoby exhorts new atheists of this era to pay our debt to Robert Green Ingersoll by keeping his memory alive. We owe so much to Ingersoll, who spoke eloquently and appealed to the reason of his fellow Americans. He reached not only ivory tower intellectuals, but ordinary Americans, many of whom responded. We are presently engaged in a war with those religious fundamentalists who attempt to claim that the United States was founded as a Christian nation rather than a secular one, who would try to turn back the clock on women's rights, black rights, and gay rights. They would remove the teaching of Darwinian evolution in our public schools and replace it with the non-science of intelligent design. They would prevent family planning by banning contraceptive use and would force women to bear children they cannot care for by banning abortion. In short, these Christian fundamentalists would turn our secular government into a theocracy. We must fight them with all our energy and keep the memory of Ingersoll alive. I would like to close this lecture with the words of Ingersoll himself, with his own eloquent words on secularism. Secularism is the religion of humanity. It embraces the affairs of this world. It is interested in everything that touches the welfare of sentient beings. It advocates attention to the planet on which we happen to live. It means that each individual counts for something. It is a declaration of intellectual independence. It means the pew is superior to the pulpit, that those who bear the burdens shall have the profits, and they who fill the purse shall hold the strings. It is a protest against being the serf, subject, or slave of any phantom, or of the priest of any phantom. It is a protest against wasting this life for the sake of one we not know of. It proposes to let the gods take care of themselves. It is living for ourselves and each other, for the present instead of the past, for this world instead of another. It is striving to do away with violence and vice, ignorance, poverty, and disease. It does not believe in praying and receiving, but in earning and deserving. It says to the whole world, work that you may eat, drink and be clothed, work that you may enjoy, work that you may not want, work that you may give and never need. Thank you for your attention. I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
There were times when he would appear in a city and stand at the city hall steps, and people would fill the square, and then it would go down, the crowd would go down the side streets, and people at the end of the side streets could still hear him because the echo would be going down between the buildings. It was like the buildings were an amplifier. This was reported many times. He liked that setting.
He liked to talk.
You know, and on YouTube,
Yeah.
you will find complete sets of his lectures presented by good oral
Really?
speakers,
Yeah.
yes.
Because I found
Actors
his
and
Of
whatever.
course,
complete set
not his own.
writings. I found his
voice.
complete set
Yeah.
of writings.
Yeah.
Yeah, complete writings.
But I didn't realize
many
they had
volumes,
someone that was
Many
Yeah, they
volumes
have,
of that.
I think
Oh, that's
everything's
cool.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
yeah everything.
I'm still puzzled. The people who would attend his lectures were free thinkers, right?
Not all of them.
Not
I mean,
all.
some of
Some
them
were
were
very
like
religious
slightly
people.
religious, or were maybe chafing at religion's
Yeah.
restrictions.
That's what I'm trying to
It
understand.
also sounds like he was. I'm looking at some of his lectures. It sounds like he was, like for example, he advocated for the 8-hour workday.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a
Right.
non-religious person
Yeah.
to say, well, I like that.
Yeah.
He's got some other things in there that just
People
weren't.
went to lectures and listened to different ideas. I was a big reader of Louise May Alcott's girls' books.
Me
and,
too.
Yeah, I know. Most girls.
Of course
were.
we were.
Yeah, of course. And if you recall in those, Meg and other people, the older sister and her husband, they were going off to lectures. Remember, somebody would sit
I
with
do.
the kids.
Yep.
And so lectures were real. Of course, that was Boston. I mean, we're right outside of Boston, so that was a big deal. But I mean, they were attending lectures all over the country. What that they would do now? I guess though people do see them on YouTube.
So it was a form of entertainment, or
Yeah,
what you do in your free time.
yeah.
It wouldn't necessarily be free thinkers.
No,
No.
although many were, of course, but they weren't necessarily free thinkers. They weren't. He wasn't just preaching to the choir.
Well, it was an age of reform, and it sounds
Yeah.
like he was a reformist
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
some of those ways.
yeah. A
So,
big reformer. Yeah.
But is it true then that he was against fighting the Comstock laws?
Well, because, he was being cautious because he knew that they would be labeled then as being for immorality. Remember, there were a lot of free thinkers, you'll see in my next lecture, that were really heavy duty about free love and advocating it and everything. Yeah, but,
He was not.
he knew that was a dangerous place, a bit dangerous thing to be labeled as in America.
He was a conservative, liberal, radical.
Yeah, I don't think that probably, I think he was kind of conservative about sexual matters anyway.
It sounds like that, because
Yeah.
he backed out then of what he was helping his, with Bennett.
Right, because he knew that they were, and you notice they never really thrilled, and it wasn't always on account of him. People didn't like that kind of thing, they didn't understand how outrageous the Comstock laws were.
Yeah.
Who, you mentioned a left-wing historian?
Yeah, Zinn, Howard Zinn. He wrote a
Z-I-N-N?
history, did he write the history, what is it,
Yeah,
history
the
of
People's
American
History of the
people?
United States.
People's history of the United
Yeah,
States.
you'll love Zen.
It's a good book.
You'll just eat him up.
He's a great writer.
Yeah.
He's a
But
great
I mean,
writer.
is it really a historical work, or is it a...
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's well
Yeah,
thought
he's
of.
still alive. He's probably.
I think he just passed
he
away.
passed away.
I'm not sure. I think
He
he
was
just
at
passed
Harvard?
away.
So what is
I can't
his...
remember where
So
he was.
you said he's the...
He's really famous.
But I mean, when you say he writes about the
Well,
left...
he wrote about the real things. I mean, he wrote about what really happened with the Indians, the founding fathers.
He
and blah, blah,
claims to, write, the real history
The real
rather
history.
than what we learned in school.
So he would be called a revisionist by some of the...
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking liberal. Yeah.
Well, that's what, I mean, I get that, yeah, but I mean, so they would couch that in, he's a revisionist and he's making, yeah.
Yeah.
So
but
then,
people love
I
it.
guess the reason I'm asking is because I just read I was sharing with him, I just read a conservative lecture series, just because I realized I really don't understand a damn thing about the Conservative Party. However, yeah, probably one of the ones you have. But then I realized, well, I should read a liberal, because I probably really don't know.
Zinn is the one to read.
He would be,
At least to start with.
but I mean, does he actually trace the history of liberalism?
No.
He traces the history of the United States.
Well, that's, yeah, and
The
that's
political-
good, but that's not what I was looking for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a political history about how bad the government of the United States really was.
And it was in many cases.
Oh, and
so
and that
it's-
probably would be fascinating, but I'm
important.
looking for a counterpoint to you're probably looking for the one I am talking about, right?
Well, I was looking for the Zen book, but.
Oh.
A liberal history of liberalism.
Because the conservative tradition, that was the name of the lecture series, and it traced conservative not Republican, but conservative.
Yeah.
It did a parallel from England and the United States from the 1600s till after Reagan.
I think you could find it.
So it was a
on
historical, and I was like, well, I want to read the one on liberal historical.
I think you could probably find it on Google.
Well, I tried. I can't find anything that direct.
You have to name
How
the
about
era.
Noam Chomsky? Start with him.
Maybe. I mean, they all
He
have
does-
liberal.
he
Please
deals
don't
with-
corrupt her.
They all have
He deals-
liberal,
he
but
deals
they're
with-
not necessarily doing it in an academic, historical,
But Chomsky,
neutral
I think,
perspective.
I think Chomsky deals with specific issues. I'm not sure
I
if
can
he's
look.
right.
I just haven't found anything as parallel.
Yeah, I'm trying to
But
think.
my next question is, because I heard that name, so I wanted to check it out. I was unfamiliar with it. Zinn, Howard Zinn, you said?
Z-I-N-N.
Yeah, I got that. Okay. And then, so you mentioned the Third Great Awakening, and this was happening kind of concurrent to it. My question is, was this reactionary toward? I mean, I know they just came out of the Second Great Awakening, had this little tiny respite, and jumped
And
into
then
the
there was
third.
the first fucking
Right, and that was crazy,
And
but-
now we had the fourth.
But was the Freethought somewhat
Well, yeah.
reactionary to
Yeah,
the
we had
Third
the
Great
fourth
Awakening?
Great Awakening, just about the time when the Republicans took over Congress.
Right. So was this reactionary to that, or was it just on its own?
What, American Freethought?
Yes.
Oh, partly, I would think, but I think there were so many currents that for some reason it picked up speed. Probably
During that
because
time.
of, yeah, probably because of science, Lyle.
Okay. So it wasn't
Darwin.
just strictly reactionary, maybe
No.
partly, but it was
No.
not a strictly reactionary.
That's why I'm afraid
Okay.
that, if we don't keep up the momentum, that we're gonna again fall back.
Oh, we've already.
Everybody's saying, well, we've got a religion, but we've seen it before.
So when you see the fourth great revival of religion, that's, when was all
Great
that?
Awakening.
It's right
they
now.
call it.
Great Awakening.
Well, now it's over, it's just about over, it's run its course, but it started about just before the Republicans took over Congress. What was it, something with America?
Contract with America.
Contract with America, it started before that.
Was that the fourth?
Mhm.
Considered
Part of the fourth.
It was minor though, it was very small, I don't think that they should really call it that, but
Yeah,
they
there
do.
was something earlier in
Yeah, but they
the
call it that.
1920s though.
Remember, everybody was going to church and everybody was blah, 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 or said they were going to church, Americans lie.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
Churchgoers lie.
Have you,
Yeah.
and
I don't
part
like
of the, I think, I can't remember if it was the Second or the Third Great Awakening. I don't know if anybody's caught the book that's out called Guaranteed Pure.
No,
I think
I
it
haven't
just
seen
came out
that.
recently.
No.
It's,
Oh, God.
so the guy he's related to the Moody Institute, the guy that came up with Quaker Oats.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically
Oh,
oats.
Kellogg,
Yeah, no, Kellogg didn't do Quaker Oats. No.
who did?
I can tell you in a minute. But anyways, his thing, he was worked with the Moody Institute. But anyways, his thing was branding of oats. Okay, so before he came along, oats were in a big bin in every grocery store. You just went in, scooped.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, he came along and put Pure on there and did a
Very
few other,
smart.
the Quaker, it's not Quaker, there's no relationship to Quaker. He branded these oats.
That's
And
very
as a
smart.
result, he is like the father of branding with Quaker, and Quaker Oats was one of the
That's
first.
fascinating.
He then took, because he was very religious, he took his method of branding over to the Moody Bible Institute, and between what the Moody was doing at the time, he is responsible for the branding in the Second Great Awakening. He is the one that branded the Christian thing. You gotta check the book out. There's a great article online, you don't have to read the whole book.
Yeah, I was
It
just
gives you
gonna
a
say,
nice
I'll read
synopsis.
the article.
No, there's a great article, but it's called Guaranteed Pure, and it just made me think of it, because I was thinking to myself, this Ingersoll, it's so amazing that he does all this great stuff, but it's like, why didn't we have anybody clever enough to, come on, the guy that
We don't-
branded the
we
Christian
don't have-
thing
we
was
don't have-
brilliant. He
Well,
was
they're
brilliant.
also been doing a lot of corporate tactics, I would say, in the last 30, 40 years.
Well, and they're
They've
brilliant.
addressed the
By
board
putting it in a
members
box.
and they've
Yes.
gotten them investing
That
in the stock
branded
market.
it.
And branding the Christian, and sure, Ingersoll, all this great history is great
Because
with
we're very
Freethought,
small.
but we don't have somebody who's actually been so brilliant is to put it in a way that brainwashed
Well, we're very
a bunch
small.
of people.
Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
very small, and we don't believe.
So we
in
can
well,
sell
apparently it
atheists
wasn't
in a
that
box?
small
Yeah, but
when
we
he
don't
was
believe in brainwashing.
when he was doing that. Well, we
I would
need
hate
to
do
start.
that. No, I would hate to do that. I don't want to be like those people.
Authenticity.
Which is why we'll never go
you can
anywhere.
win and you can become like your enemy, and then you're full of shit.
Then you're lost.
Why? If we really believe in what
No,
we're
I-
doing,
I
guaranteed
don't-
pure.
I wouldn't, if I were doing that, I wouldn't really believe in what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. It's like Scientology. You don't.
Yeah, you become like them.
But we're losing.
And I don't
But
wanna
I mean,
be
we're,
like
we're
that.
up against, when
Go
you
ahead,
talk
that was
about
all I
a
had.
mega church or something, these
Norm,
guys are.
Norm's
Norm has
hand
something to
cards.
say.
I don't want to interrupt you if you want to finish your
No,
thought.
those were my, that's all I wrote. Oh, him.
You mentioned a Christian sect I hadn't heard of before, Holiness?
Yeah, it's
Are
a
they still
long,
alive?
it's
I
a
heard
long
that
name,
one.
Holiness something something. There was a lady when we were walking in Eastland.
Oh my
That
gosh,
would
I
come
forgot.
by every Christmas, and she would
She'd
address.
hold up her blessed hand, her
She would
hand
walk.
blessing you.
So they couldn't really throw her out, and she'd say like,
Holiness,
"Holiness or hell, holiness or hell."
You actually met this person?
Well, I didn't meet her.
Oh,
we
never
were-
talked
we
to her.
walked for exercise.
She was walking
and
in
she
the
was walking.
That's a
Oh.
real sect?
Oh, it's a large church,
It is a
actually.
large
Yeah.
church.
What's
It's
the-
turned
She
around.
She had a very expensive car and everything, but I think she was a little crazy.
Well, duh.
But it's still around, and it's like the Nazarenes or
Yeah.
another one. of
Yeah,
those.
it's a popular church.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, holiness. And that's what she was trying to tell us to do, come to holiness.
Come to holiness.
No kidding.
I mean, if anybody like dared, set up anything and tried to hand out stuff,
Here it
there was
is.
one bad group. Jim and I, went down to the office and complained, and then I called again on Monday. Because really then the Catholics were just arguing with those people, they were, I think, were they Jehovah's or what were they that day? I can't even
I can't remember the sect. no.
And, I went up to them and I said, do you ladies have permission to do
They're
this?
Jehovah Witnesses.
They were Jehovah's,
Ladies
yeah.
from the Jehovah.
And they said, yes, we do. And I said, from whom? Because I knew the mall doesn't allow this kind of thing. Yeah, they said, from God.
Yeah,
So I
from
went
the
down
second
and
floor.
told the sergeant down there, and he started laughing. When I told him, I said, they said they had permission from God. He started laughing his head off.
Did he do anything about
Oh,
it?
yeah, they
Yeah,
got him
they
out. I
stopped
called
it.
Monday and they got him out.
Great.
They can't because then they'll have to let the free thinkers, we would have set up a
Satanists and-
damn booth, they would have to let the Republicans, the Democrats, the Methodists, anybody who wanted to. You can't set up on private property like that.
Was,
So this holiness was an outcropping in the Methodist church.
I don't think so,
That's what it says here.
really, because
Yeah.
I think it was part of the,
Well, somebody else,
Okay.
but that's what they're saying.
was Frank Baum an atheist?
no, but he was kind of an agnostic for a while, but then he went to kind of like spirituality, like the new spirituality like now. So he changed as he got older.
Well, I
It was
was
kind of a
wondering,
kooky thing. So did Bennett and his wife.
with
they
Baum, I
went-
was wondering why, the Wicked Witch of the West had a name,
What was it? I can't remember.
Elphaba,
Yeah.
L. Frank Baum.
Oh my
So
God,
why
how funny.
why did he take his name to name the Wicked Witch of the West as opposed to say the man behind the curtain or
I
whatever?
don't know.
You know,
I have
the-
no
the
idea. I
greater-
don't know that much about Baum.
Who shows the most evil character.
Mhm.
Maybe
Just
for a joke.
Just
Mhm.
a self-deprecating joke.
Writers do things like that for the hell of it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the evilest one of all.
Don't want to read too much into it, eh? But I do love that line, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
because
You know,
that is
that's a
Everybody
wonderful
does.
film for teaching
Yeah.
kids to to think for themselves.
But
Yeah.
do the Christians understand what's happening in
I
that
don't
scene?
think so, because they watch
You
Are they
already
too
have
stupid?
it. You already have it. What are you praying for?
Yeah.
I don't think that they,
Well,
I don't
because
think that
I
they
think it's
really
over
get
the
it.
head of the Christians who are
Yeah.
letting their children watch this, because it's openly,
Yeah,
satirizing God, and I don't think they see that. They don't even see the connect. We see the connection. Even I did as a child.
Mhm.
We can't. Christians, I don't
Well,
think.
they would say the magic isn't real,
Right.
Yeah.
but God is.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
the
but
wizard
there's a
was
difference.
just a guy
yeah.
prestidigitating.
It has nothing to do
But
with
the
God.
manipulation of people through this phoniness of this magic,
Yeah.
this phony
The
magic.
booming voice.
But part of the reason the book's a classic and well accepted is because you can read into that whichever way you want
You
to.
want.
Both
Yeah.
ways, yeah.
You can.
Yeah,
So how could
Poppies.
you, as a Christian, how would you justify it?
Well, you would
How
say
would you
that.
find
Well,
it?
God is the real thing. Don't pay attention to all those
Yeah,
people
that's
telling
the
you
thing.
different. The
The
man
You
behind
know,
the curtain. I
have
mean,
you ever seen a Christian
Snake
or
oil
any
salesman.
religious person that doesn't have an answer?
Right away.
Yeah, but God
Yeah.
never makes an appearance in this movie, right? She says,
In the book.
you have the power yourself, tap your slippers together and you'll go back to
But
Kansas.
see, that's magic again.
That's
They'd say
magic.
that's just a movie.
But it's her, but it's her magic, right?
Yeah.
It's Dorothy's.
But they would just
power.
say
Ruby
that's
slippers.
magic, and you shouldn't pay attention to a movie when, I mean, there's God there. You they always have an answer. You cannot win with religious people.
You know,
That's
okay,
true.
but the stretch is ever more greater than say something like It's a Wonderful Life. That's not much of a
Right.
stretch to say
Agreed.
God is watching out
Yeah.
for the guy that wants to kill himself. It's a further stretch in the Dorothy case to
Yeah.
say, yeah, God is somewhere here in the story.
Yeah,
In both positions,
Ah.
the wizard was a snake oil salesman.
yeah.
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Before the tornado,
Right,
he was a
which
snake oil?
another,
And after he was a
another,
snake oil.
Both
yeah,
ways,
another
yeah.
message about that.
Yeah.
And he says, the guy in Kansas says, oh, I sure hope she gets home okay. Right, that's right before that scene ends,
Yeah,
You're talking the movie.
in the movie.
Okay.
Not
'Cause
the
he-
book, sorry.
The book didn't do
They are
that.
different.
Yeah,
They're
he
very
says
different.
to himself, I sure hope she gets home okay. So again, that's the humanist part of, you know, the Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz,
yeah.
is the character.
Bernanke does it
Well,
always.
even behind the curtain, he wasn't trying to hurt anybody, right? Didn't he,
Well, no, but he was
build the
frightening
city and
people.
bring
and he
techno-
was
Build
being
himself up, but.
Yeah, I
no,
know.
But I
yeah,
think we
he
give-
wasn't trying to hurt.
I don't know. I mean, some kids might get it, but who was the other dude, the Narnia series? Never in a million years
Oh.
did I equate that to Jesus and God and religion, the
C.S.
Aslan and
Lewis.
C.S. Lewis.
Oh my God. don't
To me,
even
they were
mention him.
they were the opposite. It wasn't until I was an adult and I was learning
Yeah.
about it where I was like, that was supposed to be religious. Poof,
Lewis.
right over my head.
Lewis was my bait more. I mean, I've hated him. I mean,
Oh, I love those books.
oh, I don't even like the books.
I
well,
did.
he's
loved
got a
him.
line in
I've read him
We
again
didn't
recently.
study him
I
in
still
the
love him.
English department. He was a formidable English.
Well,
guy.
his apologist
and he was
stuff
always
is-
wrong.
Well, this is
I
fiction.
think-
I don't
Christianity,
care.
huh?
Oh, he is
The
one of
arguments
the
in Mere
worst.
Christianity, I had a guy trying to pull it on me today. I'm like,
Yeah, he's a.
Read a
he's
stupid book on miracles if you want to go.
No, all that stuff's ridiculous
Yeah.
too. But I'm
Yeah,
sorry, his
he-
fiction
he's
was
another.
Norm has something
He's
to
another
say.
Wizard of Oz, hiding behind all his literary,
Yeah,
great literary
Yeah.
skills and so forth, and pulling the wool over your eyes
Yeah.
for the children.
yeah,
Like this is.
No,
this,
But it didn't turn
this
me into
God,
a religious
the lion,
person.
will really do things.
yeah.
But
But,
it
but
the
didn't
lion
Aslan
is
sacrifice
Jesus.
himself for
Yeah,
his
well,
Well,
children?
see, now I get
And then
that.
he goes
It's
again.
Jesus.
Now I get that.
I know, I
But
didn't
back
get it either
then-
till-
Norm, you wanted to say something.
The theater in Dowagiac, is that still around?
No, they pulled the building down around 1966. But there's a Bentley Theater Company, and they do kind of like summer stock, that kind of thing. And they've taken the sculptures. They've taken some of the sculptures and they've put them at the entrance of the North Lions building at Southwest Michigan College in Dowagiac. But it's odd because they named some things and they never mentioned Voltaire or anything. And I can't remember now, but we were talking to some member of the atheist community, and I can't remember who it was that had been there, and he said something about where the amulets had, they were large. Some of them had been preserved, and I can't remember where he said they were, maybe in somebody's house or something. I'm like a blank, and I couldn't find it on the web. I looked and looked.
The theater was called New Theater?
No, it was called the, wait a minute. It's called the Bentley.
Oh, okay, you just said New Theater. It
Yeah.
was a new theater.
It was a
It was
new
called
theater. I'm sorry, it was called the New Theater. I'm sorry. That's what it was called.
The
Yeah.
new theater,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But they do have the Bentley Theater Organization now. So, they remember them. I mean, it's kind of like it's like a famous thing, but they don't mention, they have their history up there, and they don't mention that he was a free thinker.
Do people go as like tourists?
It was called the
then?
New Theater, Norm.
The new theater.
Yeah.
Do tourists go there to pray?
Where? At the
Free thinkers.
Dowagiac, at the New Theater? I mean, it isn't
Like, just
there, so,
take
I
the
don't think a
fifth
lot of
tenet
people,
and
I
just-
never knew about it till this other atheist told us about it. And I was fascinated
Yeah.
that, we had, like such a,
good atheist thing going on.
yeah, really, and they just don't even mention
Some
it.
heritage. Well, of course
They don't
not.
mention their theater history. They mention Beckwith and, the great company he had and blah, 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 but nothing about his free thinking or atheism.
You had made a comment that Ingersoll was a had his faults, but he was, all these wonderful things.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any faults. What exactly
Well, one
were
of
his
the faults was like defending these corrupt, Republican politicians, and they were
Okay, you mean
friends.
that.
They
okay.
were friends, and but money had probably exchanged hands, like Jacoby says. I'm sure that she's right.
And he was afraid
expedient.
to challenge the anti-sex laws, right? The
Well,
Comstock laws.
yeah,
Afraid
I
or
don't know. He
prudent?
was, he was very cautious. I don't think that I don't see that as a real fault. Not with the times the way they were.
But you had other people that were willing to challenge it, like the liberal leaders.
Well, yeah, but those freethinkers were a pretty wild bunch. So he was mainstream kind of American. I mean, he had an opulent house, and his daughters were like well taken care of, and they were entertaining very graciously and everything like that. He certainly didn't want any charges that he
Did
was.
he coin the word free thought?
I don't believe so. No, actually, who did? Somebody can look
It came
that
over
up.
from Europe.
I don't think so. I think it. Well, actually, that's a good question.
I know who knows.
Yeah.
Professor Google.
Yeah, look it up.
Well,
Yeah.
But I would like to revisit this concept that I think you
He
brought
called
up,
it more secularism.
that the enemy, so to speak, they have excellent business plans and marketing systems.
Oh boy, do they
To
ever!
cause mega churches and stuff like that.
They've
And
helped
so they
the
consume
churches
the
out.
smaller ones, and they keep growing, and they keep building new branches, because their business plan is superior.
Yeah.
They have no trouble getting financing, because the business model is a successful one. But,
They
and
invest
then,
well.
and then the concept of what's our mission, and you wouldn't wanna be deceitful, but it sounds to me like Ingersoll had expedience going for him. He was entertaining, so he'd keep your interest. And I'm sure he knew that he had to dance with the right guys in order to stay high up there
Right.
and make an impact. So sometimes it's like all the wrong things for all the right reasons. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I have no objections to what Ingersoll did, but, he didn't really manipulate people, only in the sense of, his humor and his personal charm. But, I mean, are we going to become liars, like the Christians? I mean, because as far as I'm concerned, that's what they do, and so does all
Well, they know it's a
I
business
shouldn't just say
plan,
Christians.
but they know, the megachurches, they know their business plan. The reason they're successful is because they're good at business.
Well, I
And they've got a
mean,
great
Well, they're
theater
selling
group.
something.
well, we could
And
use
they're
that,
salesmen.
we could use that.
Well, I
We
guess
could
what,
use this.
but they're selling something. Now, I don't understand why anybody buys it, but what is,
It's not hard to understand, they're selling eternal life.
dude, according to my husband,
What?
I said, what's